Right then, I buy faulty electronic items, attempt to fix them and sell them for a profit, trying to save broken tech one step at a time and hopefully make some money on the way. This right here is Sally's spectacular spreadsheet where we basically log everything so far. And the good news is that from episode 1 and episode 2 previous, I've actually managed to sell some stuff. So as we can see, I said that the estimated sell price for the Nintendo Switch Lite previously was going to go for £85, and the actual sell price after eBay fees were taken out of the equation is £73.62. We also then have to minus the postage off of this, and our net profit for the Nintendo Switch Lite was actually £27.63. On top of this, I managed to sell one of the Xbox Series X consoles that I wasn't able to fix, and I managed to sell that for £143.60. This unfortunately gave us a net profit of minus £4.39 because the cost of the console was £140. Plus, we have £7.99 postage. Our estimated profit was minus £21.70. So considering that it's only minus £4.39 is a bonus. We go over to the total. We're now in the green officially of £7.66. I will add the minus £4.39, which takes us down to, I don't know why it's brown, an hourly rate of £0.65. And here, just out of interest, you can see that the first episode of Profit or Loss netted us £27.63 over the 1 hour worked. And so far, we spent almost £20 on postage. So let's see if we can make a profit in today's episode and slowly just move up that profit ladder, with one of the main goals being to beat £1,000 total profit in less than 104 episodes. Welcome, your faces, back to episode number 3, season 2 of the series Profit or Loss. What have I got for you today? May have paid potentially a little bit over the odds for this, but it was £50 for this faulty Nintendo Switch. Now, typically this Nintendo Switch has no power because I just simply love those faults. £50 is a little bit of a risky one, I'd say though, because profit-wise, maybe we'll be able to fetch £90 for this, maybe a little bit less. If I was buying Nintendo Switches for £30-40, our profit margins would be a lot better. So let's see what's going on with it. How does our port look? Actually, no, okay, no game. I think I just checked this as well. Yeah, no SD card either. How does the port look? All right, I think. I can't necessarily see. I see maybe a hair or two, but you know, other than that, we look all right. Do I see signs of flux being the question, or some sort of liquid ingress potentially? We are indeed missing 2 screws. Okay, I've just noticed that. What about the top one? We have the top screw. But unfortunately, I think one top screw does not make up for 2 lost bottom screws. I think somebody's definitely been inside this. Let's see if we can fix it. Ammeter ready to go in the top right hand corner of your screen. Do we get a reading? And if so, what happens? Whoa, 15 volts and nothing. Try the other side. Something flashes up but nothing. I will try a different charger just to make sure. Okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, so here we get 15 volts and 2-3 milliamps. Anything happen on the screen? Ammeter turns on. We don't get a display on the screen of like a symbol of a battery charging. I think maybe the reason why this one isn't working is perhaps because of the low draw, and therefore it's not updating because it's only, 9 milliamps or whatever it is, or 3 or 4 milliamps. I'll try and power it on. Anything? No. So with no draw whatsoever, but 15 volts going into the device, do you know what I'm thinking? That the battery's been disconnected. So let's see if that's true. That screw is threaded at the top. GG. Back inspection looks pretty good, to be honest with you. No missing screws or threaded screws. Take the back off. Just as I suspected. Well done, Joey. You got something right for once. The battery has been disconnected. Now, why would the battery have been disconnected is the next question that I need to ask myself. A small look under the microscope shows us that maybe we have signs of flux around M92T36. And maybe, oh, wow, okay. So we're missing a cap here by the looks of it. Can you see? Quite literally here. So we're missing a component. I don't know if that's a rip pad or not. I don't think it is. I don't think either of these are rip pads, but that's fine. We can replace a cap there. That's no problem at all. Looks like the port has been changed from what I can tell. So we are definitely dealing with a prior repair attempt. I did say it looked a little bit fluxy at the start, didn't I? Let's see if these pins are solid. Looks it, yeah. Can't argue with that. That port looks okay. Any other missing components? I said actually in the last episode that I need to ensure that board inspection is one of those things that I fully ensure that I complete in this season. So it looks okay. I mean, M92 just looks a little bit fluxy. I don't know what kind of flux that is. And again, down here, why the Max IC looks okay. Doesn't look to be touched. EMMC is intact, which is nice. Okay, we're missing a component here. This is why, again, the visual inspection is so overpowered, essentially. Right here, we're missing a cap, which again is fine. I can... do you know what? I'm going to call this. It looks like this might be a parts board, like a donor board, you know? That's what this looks like to me. Because... that cap coming off, is it possible that somebody slipped and took it off with it? Yeah, maybe. Is it possible that there's a short there? I don't think I've ever had that circuit shorted in my hundreds of switches that I've looked at. And same for here. Maybe somebody has just taken this component to replace another one. So do we have a case of donor boards here? I'm not going to plug the battery in because we're still missing some bits. What I am going to do though is quickly measure M92T36, because if this cap here is shorted to ground, it means that we have a bad APU. There is no point in continuing. That is always my first point of call to check, and then I'll get the motherboard out of the chassis and we'll have a bit of a further inspection as long as this is okay. Okay, meter is in continuity mode. Do we have a short here? 600 ohms. That actually seems okay. It's a little bit high, if I'm honest. The resistance is a little bit high there. We should be seeing around about 400 or so. So it's about 200 too high. But I will check around some of the other caps on M92 to see if we do have any shorts. Seems to be okay. Top of these caps here is ground, whereas these lines go into the IC. And these are the ones that we don't want to be shorted. And when I say shorted, oh, wait a minute. Oh no, it's just because, so that's ground and that's ground. And I was touching the two together here. Okay, that's fine. We don't have a short here. Check around BQ. Was this line here perhaps shorted, which is why they removed the cap? No, so we don't have a shorted line here. Anywhere else? That's weird. This is, okay, cool. Ground. Okay, well, BQ looks hunky-dory as well. Fusey. Fusey seems okay. It looks like it's been soldered. That does look like solder there. I'll replace a couple of these components that are missing. That one and this one specifically around the LCD. And then we'll look to give this a test. I don't think it's going to be as easy as that because it never is. Has this been replaced? That might have even been soldered. That doesn't look factory. It could be wrong though. Right, let's take out the chassis. Now onto a back of the board inspection. So here we have P13, responsible for the video output on a Nintendo Switch. Seemed to be okay on the back of the board. I've never seen that exposed though. I don't know if that is married to the board. This crystal here, I think that's a crystal. I have no idea. This I know is married to the board, but I'm not too sure if this is or isn't. So it might be worth taking that off because that kind of looks a bit burnt there or something, you know. And the issue being as well, we can't do this from the back, and I'm pretty sure it's a really sensitive component. And the reason we can't do it from the back is because we've got all of these FPC connectors here, 3 of them, 1, 2, 3. So it'll have to be from this side, and we'll have to use like a real low heat here to get this off and replace it. 3 things in that case: cap 1, cap 2, crystal 1. Let's replace these and see if we get any sort of life whatsoever. Firstly, a drop of flux to get rid of the remnants of the previous cap, because that's exactly what that is on that top pad. Just there. There we go. Okay. As well as the fact that I'm going to try and clear the pad of the solder, because when I go to solder the caps on, that will be the easiest way to do it with a flat pad. Perfect. Rotate the board, make our life easier. Drop that cap there. Grab a tweezer. Solder it in place to hold. Now a little bit of flux. Come back in with the iron. Rotate board, make life easier. There we go. And then rinse and repeat with the other cap, exactly the same. We have a slight issue, and that slight issue is that we're missing this pad here, but I think it's ground. If I just measure in continuity mode and measure here, yeah, that's not ground, so I'm assuming this is, and that is all I can do is assume. In which case, little grounding there, and just make sure that that is ground. Yeah, it is. Cool. And again, just to check. Yeah, ground. Nice. Going to have to put some solder on here. We're going to have to bridge this cap. Turn board over, make our life easy. Take cap. Solder cap to ground this side. Needs a bit more, and flux. Perfect. And solder. Don't really care how that one's looking. We have a solid connection. All good. There we go. Now to replace this thing. I'm actually going to go with 400 degrees Celsius here, just to try and make sure that I don't destroy whatever this is, because I think it is going to be very sensitive to heat, is my guess. And just moving the air around as well, so I don't apply direct heat. There we go. That came off really easy. Call it some sort of like crystal oscillator or something like that, I think. Oscilla. Yeah. Drop it on there. I don't know whether to give it a flux. I have to, right? I have to give it a tiny bit just to make sure. That'll do. There we go. I'm assuming that's okay. Again, no idea. Also don't want to drown it in IPA, so I'm just going to tap the flux away. There we go. Right, now we can We can give this a little test and see what the situation is. I'm not going to fully plug this in. What I'm going to do here is just plug the battery in and see what signs of life we now get. Battery in. Let's put the ammeter in now. What happens? Okay, that's really good. 430 milliamps. Is it going to boot up? There is also a chance it's charging. Oh, it turned off and it turned on. Wait, so I think this switch is on. 600 milliamps. Let me take it out. Maybe the battery's completely flat. I'll get it put back into the chassis, but maybe. I mean, that's really good. It looks like we may have fixed it. Okay, must-haves have been plugged in. So we've got the LCD, we've got the backlight, and we've got the battery and the on button just in case, because you never know. But let's see if we get a battery charging symbol up here in the top of the screen. Here we go. 400 milliamps. Battery symbol. Okay. Oh, wait, it shows full. Then why did it turn off a second ago? Let's see if it boots. We have boot. Okay, that's really, really good. Let's see what happens. All right. Well, it's on. Let me remove this. Okay, touchscreen isn't going to work. We have the parental controls on. Yeah, touch isn't going to work because of the fact we don't have the game card slot plugged in, which is what the digitizer plugs into. But yeah, wow. Okay, I'll turn it off. Still on, right? It hasn't turned off. Yeah, okay. I'm going to turn it off, put some things back together on it, and see if this works. Because I'm actually highly doubtful. You might be thinking, Joe, why are you so skeptical about this? Well, I just don't understand why those caps were missing in the first place, other than the fact that somebody was maybe using it as a donor board. Maybe that's just me being very pessimistic, but I'll put some stuff back together. We'll see how we get on. So it turns on, which is really, really good. I've put everything back, except for obviously I haven't screwed down all the housing just yet. I'm trying to learn my lessons. And this Joy-Con isn't recognizing, which is going to be this rail over here. This one seems absolutely fine, as we can see. Plugs in and stays in. And I've done a little test like this. I did have to give it a bit of a clean, but it seems to be all right. It's just this one over here. I know the Joy-Con itself is absolutely fine, so I don't know if it's just the, I've tried to give that a clean as well. I don't know if it's just the rail, or it could be the FPC connector, hopefully not. Test the game quick as well, make sure that's okay. The touchscreen works, which is always good. And the game card slot works, which I'm actually pretty surprised about. That's really good. And does it work on the docking station? Let's go ahead and plug it in. It does take a couple of seconds to show up. Means that the port is also good, by the way, the charging port, which is nice. Doesn't look like it. Sometimes, though, I do need to turn this around. So let me turn it around the other way. Does that work? Yes, it does. So it works in a docking station as well. Jubbly. Side note as well, I'm also having a hard time getting the fan to actually spin. I'm trying, but it doesn't look like it wants to spin. It's getting relatively hot as well. So I don't know what's going on there. Circuit around the fan itself seems to be absolutely fine, from what I can tell. Ribbon cable also seated correctly. Pushing down to see if that helps the connection, but still no spin. I'll try simple things first. I'll try a different fan, and like I said, whilst I'm here, I might as well replace that. Or maybe it just doesn't look like it's been put in correctly. Is that the case? Maybe. Try again. How's that now? No. Hasn't made a difference, has it? So it was in fine. FPC connector itself looks to be okay. I can't see any issues there at all. So I'm going to go with just a bad rail. So let me swap that out. Okay, different fan, and I've just put on another rail as well for the Joy-Con. So we'll just rip that off like a plaster and see if that works first. Here we go. No. I don't believe it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that there is a specific component that affects both the fan and the Joy-Con rail. I'm sure of it. I just can't remember for the life of me what component that is. Well, I'm going to have to try and remember which one it is, and do a little bit of research on some videos to get the result that I want and need. I didn't find the answer, but I might have found it accidentally. I was just probing around, and I'm on this diode, right? If I ground our red probe, and then if I just touch this one up here, I think this is meant to be ground anyway, but you can see that we don't get anything. So if that is ground, okay. And then if I put the probe here, I also get pretty much nothing. So I think this diode is failing. I'm pretty sure this is a cap here, isn't it? Or is that an inductor? It might be an inductor. One way to test that, actually, if we just put our probes like that. Yeah, I think it is an inductor. I don't think that's a blown cap. In fact, if I take a donor board, just so we can 100% confirm. Oh, okay, that diode isn't there. I wonder why. I'm going to go ahead and assume that this diode is, has a common fatal point, which is why it was removed. Let's just see. Was this... Oh, wait. Maybe that isn't an inductor then. I mean, it looks like an inductor on the board that I have. That is definitely a cap there. You can see that almost brown, but on this one, oh, maybe it is. Wait, maybe that is a little cap. In which case, is it the cap itself that's shorted? I mean, that's 2 ohms. And that's 2 ohms. So maybe it's the cap itself. If I measure on the fan connector itself, I get 4 ohms there. And I also get ground here. I'm sure I'm not meant to actually get ground on this pin. And again, I can test that with another board. Do we get ground here? No, we don't get ground here. Okay. So it's either going to be the diode or it's going to be the cap. Both are a pain because they're right next to the connector. Nonetheless, again, the beauty with this is that we can heat from the bottom side of the board. Which one's it going to be? I have no idea. I'm probably just going to remove the cap quickly and see if that is our culprit, and we'll go from there. Right, so heating from underneath the bottom of the board. Let's go. I think, actually, after I've had a bit of a thought... Oh, wait a minute. What's going on with that cap? I've just seen that. What is it? Well, okay. Well, that will need to be replaced as well. That's something that we can arrange. Just noticed that. I'm going to take the diode off first, and then I'm going to measure the diode whilst it's off the board. So my suspicions about the cap still probably remain, but I'm going to choose to remove the diode. Here we go. That is how small that diode is. I am in diode mode, and we got the beep with the beep on. Let's see what it measures both ways now that it's out of circuit. So we have nothing that way. Let's turn it around. What do we have this way? Nothing. Yes, okay. Good job I removed that. I was wrong about the cap then. So again, if I measure on here, we no longer have a short. You can see it's 0.28. That's really, really good. So we just need to replace that diode. Had a bit of flux. And for some reason, that does affect the Joy-Con rail as far as I'm aware. Don't think I've personally had this repair yet, but that's another one to add to the books. Oh, and just over in the corner here, we've got to place some leaded here as well. Sort this out. There we go. There's our diode. I'm just going to place it there for the time being. Should be okay. And there's that little resistor as well, putting that in place. There we go. Now I'm also, just to get these components sat properly, that one can just scoot over. There we go. And now the solder should do its thing, and I'll apply some flux in a second. But here, I'm at 430 degrees Celsius, and I'm just rotating that heat around underneath the board. And you should see these components fall onto the solder. Put it more in the center for you. There we go. There goes that resistor on the left. Now we just need the diode on the right, which is probably taking slower because I don't have any additional flux there. But that looks better. It's just gone into place. I'm going to put a tiny bit of flux here. Just that much. Come back on with the heat. There it goes. Perfect. Both components now in place. Little dab clean up here. Tiny bit of IPA. There we go. That should be okay. Thermal measurement with that diode on the board now, just to make sure that cap isn't bad. There we go. Ignore the beeping. 0.28. Perfect. Now the real question being that, does that really affect the Joy-Con rail? For some reason, the fan connector circuit affects it. Must be joined up somewhere. Back together enough to test. It turns on, which is always a good sign. Moment of truth. Joy-Con, do ye work? Yes. It took a while. It really did take a while. I've already cleaned it, so it shouldn't lose connection. No, it doesn't. Perfect. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. And then we just need to find out if the fan spins as well. How weird is it that that affects the Joy-Con, hey? Okay, fan, I'm waiting for you to spin up. Let's try and launch some YouTube. We'll stress this out a little bit. Oh, there we go. Just like that. See how quickly that kicked in? Amazing. So the fan's okay. Everything works with this console. Tried and tested. I just need to get rid of parental controls, do some magic, and we can call that a fix. Voila! Parental control magic has been successful. And as we can see, the screen is in okay condition. We have a few like grazes and scratches, but nothing absolutely dire. That is this console 100% fixed. Oh, I have accidentally actually lied to you. I haven't tested the SD card slot. Please don't fail me at the last hurdle. No. Oh, wait. Okay, fine. All right, I can delete that stuff. That's okay. That took a little bit longer than expected, but I think it's worked. Yeah, it has. SD card and system memory. Thank goodness for that. And then when I take it out, it says it's been removed and you need to power it off. Okay, cool. Switch number 1 has been fixed. Are we going to end it there? Absolutely not. Let's move on to item number 2. You've absolutely got it right. It is another Nintendo Switch that I paid £50 for. This one is heavily scratched up on the screen though, so I'm not a massive fan of that, if I'm honest. Might need to change that out with a donor one. Also, some more bad news, other than the fact that it has the case of the oots. The screws look a little bit rusted or water damaged, so this is going to be an interesting one, that is for sure. Again, a classic case of no power. Let's check the charging port. Oh, we got something growing in there, I'm sure. Lord, glove. Look at the back of that, it's so hairy. Maybe the charging port itself has been changed, potentially. So we got a leg or something down the bottom there as well, down the bottom right. Ugh. Fun fact, I'm not going to plug a charger into this. I'm just going to take it down to the board because I do think someone's been inside it. And when I say think, this screw is not in properly and we're missing parts of the plastic down here. You can't really see. There we go. That's a better angle. No screws in the bottom, no screw in the top. Both of these switches were actually purchased from eBay. Unless you hear me specifically say otherwise, just assume it's been purchased on eBay. I think this one is just going to need an entire new chassis because it is Not looking great. Okay, I still hold up to that. This does not look good at all. I definitely think we're going to see some growth in here. Battery's been disconnected again. So clearly the person that I bought these from knows some sort of what they're doing. Enough to disconnect the battery, that is. Having a quick look here. I can't necessarily see anything that jumps out on me straight off the bat. That charging port has definitely been replaced, right? I'm not too sure actually. That could be factory. And it's just the first one, so it's just ridiculously dirty. Let's quickly test this cap, this dreaded CPU cap, because you guys know that if this is blown, there is just no point in continuing. Too much time has been spent trying to fix these issues to no avail. All right, let's go. Measure here. Okay, good. 416. That's what we like to see. Elsewhere on the board, again, quick visual inspection. Looks to be okay. So far, so good. Anyway. Fusey McFuse. Okay, yeah, that's all right. Max IC area looks okay as well. Ooh, okay. So, for whatever reason, again, a case of missing components. Look, there's just a resistor or cap missing here. That's obviously going to make this redundant, which is the Joy-Con rail. Just in case you didn't know, it's the Joy-Con rail here. So there is a component missing here. Okay. All right. Well, another one that has just been, I don't know, again, that looks like it's been torn off to me. If these were taken off properly, I don't know if that's, yeah, that's bare board again. But luckily we've got this path here that we can actually solder to. My guess is that this is actually ground, but we clearly have something wrong with the circuit around here. Imagine if it's just those two things. I really hope that is the case. Visual inspection, again, coming in very, very clutch. I'll take this apart, get the motherboard out of the chassis, and then we'll do a visual inspection on the back as well. The back is now out as well, but again, seems to so far look okay. Just a little bit dusty, you know. It doesn't look like they've taken any components off the back, from what I can tell. Kind of looking for an excuse to have any sort of liquid damage so I can try out my new ultrasonic cleaner, but that seems to be okay. I don't think I could justify that. Yeah, pretty clean from what I can tell on the back side of things. So we just have those two missing components. Let me check the FPC connector for the screen to make sure this hasn't been messed up. No, that looks okay. All those connections in there look all right. Do we have any missing components where the fan is or the power on? No, that looks... What's that? What on earth? Oh, is that a bug? I can't tell. Just replacing that and this little component here, and maybe give this port a clean out, which is easily done. But this bit of IPA, look at that. It's pretty much brand new. Just on the lip of that connector as well. Does it look better after a clean? Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Cleaned out whatever it was hiding at the back there as well. Sweet. Pretty much exact same technique, by the way. I am wondering if this is gonna work and whether I'm gonna get lucky enough for it to work. Is that component okay? Oh yeah, it's a diode. It's fine. I think. Has that got a crack in it or a scratch or something? Do we replace it to be on the safe side? I think that's taken a scratch. I'm gonna replace that just to be safe. Let's just give this a little scrape here, and I should be able to join this over. How does that look? Yeah, should be enough. Right, same again. Equal little bit of flux just here. Lovely. Oh wait. Oh, well, that pad was okay. By the looks of it. Should have checked that, but it is what it is before I started scraping the other one. It's okay. Nothing wrong with being cautious, I guess. It just looked like it had come off. That's all good. Might be able to just yeet this off if I hold this here long enough. Go with the other side as well. And we'll just prep this one as well. Ready to go. Cap number 1. Here we go. Make sure that's solid in place, which it is. A little bit of the fluxy. And an oosh kaboosh. Wicked. And this side. There we go. Now with these ones up here. Ah, my tweezers just fell on it and has knocked the diode. Where on earth? I found it, but I don't know which way it goes now. I have no idea which way it goes. I can't remember. I think it goes that way. Should put flux on this one because it's in quite a small area. So hold on. So we can get that solder flowing. There we go. It's better. Thought I'd almost lost the cap, but I didn't. I could be hitting this from under the board, but when you can avoid it, it's kind of best to avoid it, in my opinion. I think I have, however, messed this up because I now need to get in between where that diode is to put some solder there. I think maybe the best thing to do here is just flood it. I don't know. I mean, it looks horrendous. I have to just take that cap off quick. Just to make sure I've got a good enough connection there with the diode. Does it look as bad as it seems? I'd say so. There we go, that's connected. I need to bend this cap down again. That'll do. Doesn't need to be perfect, does it? Keep telling myself. Is that alright? After a nice clean? Yeah, it's fine. I'll actually clean this one. Alright, that's okay as well. I can't see any other issues. I might quickly just check for some shorts. That would kind of make sense, right? Do it now rather than wait. Multimeter in continuity mode. M92, how are you? Oh, we're missing a cap here. Oh dear, wait. Okay, that's not short. That's ground, that's not. That's okay. Okay, wait a minute. How did I not see that? Let me check P13 USB, which is this one on the back. Just here. No, that's okay. Okay, so that cap is fine. We just have an issue with this one here. Why is that? Definitely a strange one. Just grab that from a donor. Plonk it down there. Make sure it's soldered. Right, let's see if this console works after I give it a real quick clean. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Do we get a current? Does anything happen? 3, 2, 1. Okay, 483. That looks good. Do we get... No way have we fixed this one as well. It looks like it's restarted and turning on. Okay, there we go. 800 milliamp draw, meaning the battery is taking a charge. That's good. And it's on and what seems to be working whilst it's in the chassis. I just wanted to make sure that it turns on in the docking station as well, which it does. The docking station, it seems to be okay. P13 and all of that is good. And the reason I'm doing that is because I can't sell this in the chassis that it's in. Look at it, it's absolutely horrendous. So I do need to swap this out to one of the donor ones that I have. And then I'll just transfer over this, I guess, dirty label. But at least then we're not going to have marks on the side here as well. So I need to transfer all of this over. And just like that, we have a fully working Nintendo Switch that is in much better condition than what the previous one was. I have, again, transferred over the label. It doesn't look that great anyway, but nonetheless, it's the correct one. It's been fully tested. Everything works with no issues at all. And I can now put this on eBay for another profit. For the first time in, I think, quite a long time, we've managed to go 2 for 2 on the profit side of things. So let's head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet to weigh everything up. Here we have episode 3 with the Nintendo Switches that I've just had a look at. I've entered £50 for the cost. Interestingly enough, parts wise, I've not spent anything. I just took little components from donor boards, no charging ports, nothing like that. So I guess that's happy days. The donor housing, again, because of everything from Profit or Loss Season 1, I'm not going to include that in the pricing. Some people did suggest that I should get a rough estimate of how much the parts that I'm using from Season 1 Profit or Lost is going to be. But I feel like at that point, it's just too many kind of stats, you know? The one that I've just fixed, I haven't yet listed on eBay, but I think as an estimated sale price, I'll play it safe. I think I should be able to get, again, £85 for each of those consoles, which gives us an estimated profit of £27.35 per device. So we'll see what that nets us. So I'll update on the total profit as well, and the estimated should be for episode number 3, £54.70. In terms of hours worked, overall, I'm going to say 2 hours. Didn't take me long at all. I just had to replace those little components and do a little bit of testing. That was it. Saying that, it's the next day, if you can't tell by the change of t-shirt. It's just because I had to deal with life in between fixing the switches. In total, our estimated profit is £46.65. Actually, I need to change one column. So between these two episodes, it's minus 152.38 because I haven't sold one of the Xboxes yet. And then for the Nintendo Switches, the net profit at the moment is minus 107.98. So after those adjustments, minus £260.68 in actual total profit. But we are waiting for 3 items to actually sell. I'm also going to leave a link down below because if you're from the UK, I'm actually interested in buying faulty devices. So you can head over to my website, fill out a quick Google form, and if selected, we will reply within about 5 working days. Thank you as always for watching. If you did enjoy it, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll leave a link to the playlist for season 2. Have a great rest of your day, week, weekend, whatever it is for you, and I shall see you as always in the next one. Peace.